Hello, I'm Maria Hall Brown, and this is LA Currents. Fearless, tireless, political activist, civil rights icon, schools, a labor institute, housing complexes, even an area of Boyle Heights all bear her name. I am truly honored to be joined today by Dolores Huerta. So nice to have you here. I cannot tell you how delighted it is that we are all thrilled you are here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, with all of the work that you've done, obviously, you started with farm workers' rights and rights in general and women's rights, et cetera. But where are we now? What are you focused on now? Where do you feel as if things have really changed and accomplishments have been made? And where have we fallen short?
Oh, well, we have a lot to do. As we know, we're at a critical moment in our society. When we talk about women's rights, actually, today, Senator Schumer is going to take up the Equal Rights Amendment on the floor of the Senate for a procedural vote. We don't know whether they'll be able to take it to have a vote, but a lot of women think, oh, we already have our constitutional rights. No, we don't. And if the Equal Rights Amendment is passed, then it will be part of the Constitution of the United States of America that women, we have equal rights as men. We know that we have to do a lot more work for racial equality to make sure that that happens, and of course economic equality. All the people that are working at trying to organize Starbucks and Amazon and some of these other places are, they win their elections, but then the employers refuse to bargain with them. So we have a long way to go. And of course with the farm workers, right now they're really threatened with floods and everything. And I like to say about the farm workers, farm workers, when we compare them as essential workers, we have policemen that are essential workers, firemen that are essential workers, but farm workers don't get the kind of benefits and salaries, wages that our other essential workers receive. And when we think about who are the most essential workers, I think we have to say, of course, that the farm workers are, because they're the ones that feed us. And we're also doing work with the unhoused people right now in the Antelope Valley, our foundation, the Dolores Huerta Foundation. And of course, we're all working on education. We have a youth program, and of course on the environment.
What do you think when you stop and look at what you've done? Are you satisfied, or are you just agitated and want to keep going? Do you realize the impact you've made, or are you desperate to make more?
Well, we have a lot of people that we have to reach so that they can understand that they have the power to improve our society. And a lot of people don't realize that. And this is why our democracy is threatened right now. So my message as I go around speaking to everyone, you have the power, and you are the only ones that can really improve all of these challenges that we have right now. But people have to understand that, and of course it comes down to voting, getting good representation, people that will actually go use the power of their offices once they're elected to go out there and help people, and not to take advantage of people. We had a press conference today with Karen Bass, and celebrating the fact that they're building these housing units for the unhoused people. And when you see that that's happening, it kind of justifies, I might say, it affirms the fact that we have to elect good people like the mayor, Karen Bass of Los Angeles, that are committed to solve one of the biggest challenges that we have right now. And these are things that we, the people, and that's, our Constitution starts with those words, we the people, right? We the people have the power to make these happen.
And you have. Do you ever just sit and relax? What do you do to enjoy being Dolores? What do you do to just calm down and let the world be okay for a couple minutes while you're not working?
Well, spending time with my family, members of my family, listening to music. I love music, dancing whenever I get a chance to, and enjoying the outdoors. Also, I think is very important that we have to remember that they give back to nature and, again, help with the environment so that we can continue to have a planet to live on.
Okay, so no interview, conversation, or even passing, encounter with you does not hold, that phrase, si se puede. But my question is, was that something that you planned to say, or was that just something that you reacted to and just it caught on like wildfire? Did you know?
Well, I mean, you stated the way it was, actually. Yeah. It was a reaction. And Cesar Chavez had done his second 25-day water-only fast in Arizona. And when I was organizing some of the local leadership there and asking them to support what Cesar was doing, because they had passed a law that if farm workers went on strike, they could go to jail. If anybody said boycott anything, you could also go to jail. And so we were organizing people to try to overturn that law that the governor had already signed. And when I talked to some of these leaders, they told me, oh, in Arizona, you can't do anything like that. In California, you can, but in Arizona, you can't, or no se puede. Mm-hmm. And then my response to them, it was a spontaneous response saying, sí se puede, yes we can, it can be done. Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised that it caught on and has become the phrase that follows you and is on banners and shirts and, every possible surface that there is?
In a political party in Spain, by the way,
yes.
It's called the Podemos party. Yes, I think I'm gratified because it is such a strong message. Because in Spanish, it not only means yes we can, it means yes I can. So it's got like a double message. So yeah, it is a very strong theme.
Well, you mentioned political party. Obviously, someone kind of took it and shifted it slightly in his campaign with, President Obama. And I know that you both have had little conversations about that. Did he ever admit that he just sort of said, I'm going to take this great idea and run with it?
Well, actually, when I met President Obama, he said to me, I stole your slogan. And I said to him, yes, you did.
All right, so how would you envision the best future? I mean, and do we have the leaders in place right now to create that future?
Oh, I think so, but I think it takes a lot of us to make sure that we can stop the fascism that is infecting our society. And the leaders are out there in the community, people that we don't even know. And so when we do this grassroots community organizing, the leaders step up. Because at the moment, they may not know that they're a leader, but once you get them involved and you get them active, then the leadership just sprouts up. This is the magic of doing grassroots organizing. And this is why I have devoted my life to doing that type of organizing. That's why I really love to see community organizers like Aaron Best, like Barack Obama, people like that, when they get into office, because they have those liaisons and those ties with the community, and they know what the issues are.
I have the good fortune of being with you, and I have the good fortune of sharing this time with you. But if I was to take you out and introduce you to an elementary school child that maybe has not had the good fortune of learning about your life, how would I introduce you? Who would you want to be known as and for, if I, in the very simplistic, purest terms?
Well, I would like to be introduced as an organizer and a person who tells people and convinces people that they have power. And it's really interesting. Even when I talk to elementary school children, I was with a group of second graders about a week ago, and I say to them, and I like to end my talks, I ask them two questions. Well, the first question I ask them is, who's got the power? And I want the answer to say, we've got the power. And then we say, what kind of power? We say, people power. And even little elementary school students, they understand that. They understand that. And when I say, who's got the power? They say, we've got the power. What kind of power? People power. And this is one thing to keep our democracy alive. And I'm going to quote Robert Kennedy. We mentioned him when he was assassinated. And he said, we have obligations and responsibilities to help our fellow citizens, okay? And so as citizens of this, and residents of this country, even if you're not a citizen, we have an obligation to keep democracy alive. And the only way that we can do this is by electing progressive leadership in our country. And of course, to do that, we've got to do the voter registration, voter education, get people to become citizens. And yes, we all have a responsibility to vote. And we know that the United States is the most powerful country in the world. And what we do affects the world. So if we can think about that, and this big responsibility that we have as individuals, as citizens, that we also have to give our share to make a better world.
Well, thank you for making it better as what you've done in our world so far. And I hope that I have the opportunity to be in your presence again.
Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap on this LA Currents.